surveying all the land and sea. "He is thinking about the great wide world," said Whistler. Lila nodded. They were both admirers of the owl, whom they saw now and then. Soon the owl would fly back to the Arctic, Seabold had told them, but at present he was here. The children climbed the rocky slopes covered with wild roses, heading for the secret cove used by the whale mothers as a day nursery for their babies. The babies swam in circles while the mothers went away for a little while to do whatever mother whales do. Whistler and Lila hoped somebody might be in the cove today, but there were no baby whales, only some black-tailed deer enjoying a bite of kelp on the rocks. The polite children tried to be very quiet so as not to disturb the deer, but they walked over a patch of rockweed, and it made a loud pop, pop, pop when they did. The deer saw them and ran away. Deer were always shy. "So sorry," called Lila. "Sorry," said Whistler. But there were others who did enjoy the children's company. On the mud flats, the sea scallops loved being chased by the children. When Whistler and Lila reached down to tag a scallop, it forced a jet of water from its shell that doused the children and set it spinning. Whistler and Lila got very wet from so many showers, and they laughed all the way home. "You've been visiting the scallops again," Pandora said, smiling as she helped them remove their wet sweaters. The children changed into dry clothes, then sat at the table eating big bowls of beet and barley stew. Baby Tiny was asleep in a tea tin filled with moss. It was another very nice day at the lighthouse, but the children still hoped someone new might come along soon to give them an adventure. And someone did. Chapter 2. A Baby. In the cottage, Pandora was always the first one up in the mornings, as she enjoyed having a quiet kitchen to herself while she prepared the family's breakfast. Stirring up a big pot of porridge at dawn made her happy. So it was Pandora who exclaimed, "My goodness!" rather loudly on the morning that someone new arrived, and this woke everyone up except the visitor himself. In their nightgowns and slippers, the Lighthouse family stared at the visitor asleep in Seabold's chair. It was a baby sea lion, snoring in perfect contentment. "Should we wake him?" asked Lila, very much looking forward to a new playmate. All eyes turned to Seabold. Since it was his chair, everyone seemed to think this was his decision. Seabold shook his head. "Let the baby sleep," Seabold told them. "Goodness knows I've sawed plenty of logs in that chair myself." "Sawed logs," repeated Whistler. Seabold smiled. "Snored," he said. So the family went about having their breakfast, and in spite of pans rattling and this and that dropping to the floor, and many requests to pass the maple syrup, the baby sea lion, as all babies do, slept soundly through the noise of a very busy home. Then, finally, as Whistler and Lila were drying the last 2 breakfast plates, the sea lion opened his eyes. He saw Tiny playing with a set of wooden blocks on the kitchen table, and he sat up in Seabold's chair, clapped both flippers, and roared like a lion. "Heavens!" said everyone. Tiny laughed at the other baby who could roar. Once everyone's nerves had settled, they were not used to someone roaring in their kitchen, and welcomes had all been said, the family learned that the sea lion's name was Topper, and that his mother had brought him to the cottage, put him in Seabold's chair, and told him to wait here. "For how long?" asked Whistler. Suddenly the baby sea lion's eyes filled with tears. "Oh, not long at all, I'm sure," said Lila quickly to reassure the baby. "Not long at all." "Would you like a bowl of porridge?" she asked.